Now, having understood the relevance or the significance of written test and group discussion, we now come to the interview stage. So, as I said earlier, normally there'll be two interview stages, the preliminary stage and the final interview stage. But in principle and in conduct, the preliminary interview and the final interview are no different. It is just that if the number of candidates are more, then the top bosses would delegate their subordinates or a subordinate team to identify certain potential candidates so that the top boss or the top bosses will not have to spend much time on each candidate. Alright, so therefore, the qualities which are expected from you in a preliminary interview and the final interview are the same. During the final stage, what the top bosses will be doing is basically determining whether the subordinate team has done the right job or not, whether they have selected the right candidate or have they committed certain mistakes. Sometimes the preliminary interview is conducted on telephone. Now, when such interviews are conducted on telephone, then your art of conversation takes precedence. Your qualities are determined from the way you talk with the interviewer. Now, how that is done, how you should be talking on the telephone while giving an interview, all these things we will discuss later when we come to it. But the point which I am trying to make here is that preliminary interview is basically an identification process where potential candidates are identified to be put up to the final interview panel or the top bosses. But the qualities which they are looking in you remain the same in preliminary interview as well as the final interview. Alright? So the $1,000,000 question is, what does the interviewer or the interview panel expect from you? What is it that they want from you or looking for in you? Now, to answer this question, what I would recommend is that a day before the actual interview, you lock yourself in your room in a calm and quiet, close your eyes for some time, and try to visualize. Put yourself in the shoes of the interview panel and think as to what they would expect from you. Would they expect to check your subject knowledge? No, I don't think so, because your subject knowledge would already have been tested during the written test. And also they would have seen your testimonials, your mark sheets, your degree certificates and all those things. And if you have a couple of years of experience or if you have applied for a mid-level or a senior level position, then it is presumed that you are good at your theoretical subject knowledge. So then what? What they will be checking is the application of your subject knowledge. They would want to know whether you can apply your subject knowledge to ground situations or you are just a bookworm. Because ultimately, they are not hiring you for academic purpose. They want you to perform on ground. They want you to use your knowledge on ground into real life situations. Alright? Then they will check your confidence level. They would want to know whether you are confident enough, whether you can handle your situations independently, can you remain calm and composed, or do you get nervous and would you require help at every stage? Then they would also want to know how loyal, truthful, and trustworthy you are. Because no company would like to employ a person who is not loyal, truthful, and trustworthy. Then they would like to know your ingenuity and creativity. They would want to know whether you can apply your mind and your creativity to real life situations. Can you bring about a change in their organization for the better? or would you be a mechanical worker from 9 to 5? Now the point is all these things, how these things are checked by the interviewer or the interview panel. We will be seeing all that in detail when we discuss. For the moment, we are just listing out all the possible things which the interview panel would want to know from you. Alright, so don't worry about the details. We will be discussing those details. Then they would also want to know whether you can struggle and work hard enough, or are you used to a easy-go-lucky life, not bothered much about working hard or finding solutions to things. Then they will want to know whether you can tolerate ambiguity when there are no clear instructions. Can you take logical decisions, or would you depend for instructions from the top hierarchy always? And they would also want to know how serious you are about the job, whether you are very serious about getting a job in this particular company, or are you just out on a job hunting spree? You are just in need of a job, and whatever comes your way, you are willing to grab it. And remember, all these qualities that we have talked about will not be asked from you in the form of questions, nor will they be in any particular sequence. The interviewer or the interview panel will try to evaluate these qualities in you during the normal course of interview, depending upon how you answer the questions, how you conduct yourself during the interview, and your overall interaction with the interview panel. And in the end, when they have asked you everything, you yourself would have certain qualities in you which you would want to display to them. So you will have to look for opportunities to display your good qualities which you may think that the interview panel has not asked you or have not seen in you. Alright?